So this is the BenQ EX2710U. This is an incredible gaming monitor from BenQ. This has the Mobiuz feature, and so therefore it is specifically designed for gamers out there with incredible input lag, 144Hz, and a stunning HDR picture. Don't forget to hit the red button to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and click the notification bell to get my next video first. Now, normally I'm using a computer, and when I use a computer I use a standard monitor, and when I play games I tend to hook it up to my TV and play games on the TV. But this is a very different monitor. This is a monitor that you should be able to do both with. And in this video we're going to be doing exactly that, using it for gaming but also using it as a normal PC or Mac monitor, because that's what the majority of people will want to do. Now, BenQ products in the past have looked fairly standard, a little bit boring maybe, a bit basic, but now, wow, this looks so good. It is unbelievable how good this looks. There's a simple butterfly clip just to attach the bottom of the base, and then when you want to put the actual stand on the actual monitor itself, it literally clicks in. There's no screws necessary at all. There is a VESA mount there if you want to put this against a wall, but boy, look at this monitor. Now, those little slits on the side, they light up, and I'll show you that later. But this monitor, if you do have it on display, and I almost feel guilty about putting it back against the wall, if it's on display, it would look just unbelievably good. Absolutely incredible. So these are the lights that are built into the back of the monitor, and I do have to say they look incredible. There are various different scenes that you can choose, however I feel that just a solid colour probably looks the best. It doesn't go all flashy then, and it gives you a good ambient light. Now, in terms of the connections on the bottom of this thing, there are two HDMI 2.1 ports, which I think has got to be a first in most monitors. There's also a 144Hz supporting display port, and also USB Type-B and USB Type-A. BenQ have hooked up with Trevolo again for their sound, and it's a 2.1 system, two 2-watt speakers plus a 5-watt woofer, and it does sound great, and I'll show you that later. Now, although the monitor can't be rotated 90 degrees, it does have a reasonable amount of movement. A 15-degree swivel, both left and right, and also you get a height adjustment of 10 centimeters. And there's also a tilt of -5 degrees to -15 degrees up and down. The bezels around the side and the top are super thin, just a few millimeters, and you've got the chin at the bottom, so the overall look of this monitor I think is fantastic. So this display is a 27-inch IPS panel, and so therefore sat right in front of it is where it's going to be at its best. As soon as you go off to the angle, you will lose a little bit of screen quality. Now, this does have a matte display and it has an anti-glare coating, and I find certainly for working, doing Photoshop and Final Cut work, this is the perfect type of monitor. I really can't stand a glary screen. Now, the typical brightness for this screen is around 300 nits, and that's absolutely fine for standard work. HDR, it gets double that, around 600 nits, which again I thought was maybe a little bit on the low side, but in reality, because it's a 27-inch screen, there is no issue with the brightness. It absolutely works fine and looks great. One thing that did concern me a little bit was coming from a 34-inch widescreen monitor to a 27-inch widescreen. I thought the extra real estate that I was then losing would be a big problem. But I do have to say I've been using this now for a few days, and I definitely don't think it's a major issue. I've got used to it very quickly, and I don't seem to be missing any space on the screen. Color accuracy can be a huge factor in monitors, and this, as you would expect from BenQ, is very color accurate. It's 98% of the DCI-P3 color gamut, which I think is one of the better ones out there, and certainly in my Photoshop work, it was just perfect. Using the monitor for long periods of time certainly wasn't tiring on the eyes. There are features like flicker-free technology built in, as well as low blue light. And also there's things like intelligent brightness and color weakness. And you have an e-paper feature. There's a comprehensive menu system, and this can be accessed either via the buttons underneath the monitor, or you can use the supplied remote control, which just makes things a little bit easier and stops you fumbling about underneath. One thing I really like about BenQ monitors, and projectors for that matter, is the menu system is comprehensive and you can go in and make lots of different controls. It's accessed obviously, as I mentioned, via the toggle underneath, but you can do all of these functions as well with the remote control. It's not just a basic remote. You get full information about the screen settings, and you can switch between all of the different modes, including different HDR modes and also different audio modes. And I'll come on to audio in just a few moments. A really great feature is scenario mapping, and this is where you can set your different inputs to different HDR modes and then switch between them automatically. So I have my computer set to display HDR, my PS5 set to game HDR, and if I was to pop a Fire Stick in the back for instance, then that would probably be set to cinema HDR. 3 different settings, but all doing a great job. Now when it comes on to gaming, this is where this monitor excels. Input lag on this is just 1 millisecond, and it's 120Hz refresh rate for the HDMI ports being 2.1 120Hz. However, if you do use the display port and you've got a higher end PC, then you will get up to 144Hz refresh rate, which is brilliant. So I have mine set to game HDR when I'm playing the PS5, and this seemed to take advantage best of the dimming zones. It gives you incredibly bright, vivid images on brighter scenes, yet it still has the detail capability in the dark scenes, and you don't get any screen tearing. Now when I give you the sound demo in just a second, it will be darker scenes, and so you'll get an idea of that. But look how bright and vivid this looks in this HDR version of Ratchet & Clank. Now, although this has just got 2 2-watt speakers and 1 5-watt woofer, the sound quality is surprisingly good. Have a listen to this. So the thing when it came to the sound was that it just did a great job on the bass. I've had Trevolo before on the various BenQ products and I've always been pretty impressed. The only thing that I would say if I was being super critical with this is that I would like the volume just to go up a little bit louder. There are also a few different audio modes, but I found that the cinema mode was the best no matter whether I was playing games or whether I was just watching standard videos, so I just kept it in that all the time. Now I mentioned right at the very start of this video that I normally play games sat in a chair on the TV, and one thing I absolutely loved about testing this monitor out was how much I enjoyed playing games sat in this position at a desk on a comfy chair but only just a couple of feet away, and I was fully immersed even though it is just a 27-inch screen. So I do have to say that I'm absolutely blown away with this monitor. It does gaming just incredibly well, and if you've got a faster higher end PC, then taking advantage of that 144Hz refresh rate is going to be absolutely incredible. But what I love about this is that it just looks like a standard monitor and it performs just as well for normal PC type tasks. So it's an incredible gaming machine, but also looks great and performs really well for all the other functions. So if you're in the market for a new monitor and you're thinking about going down the gaming route but you still want high-end performance for normal everyday use, then definitely the BenQ EX2710U is one that I would definitely consider. I do hope you found this video useful. Let me know of any comments in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer them. But thanks again for watching this video and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.